Alrighty, I am here with Zach, and we are doing the round 5/6/7 confessional for Ascendance Trendsetters. So, Zach, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I don't even know where to start. There's just been so much going on. Live night the other night really just fucked everything up. Um, I voted in minority, which was not fun. It was a hard minority. Well, I don't know if you would call it the hard minority, but it was a 6 to 5 to 1 to 1, and I was in the five. And pretty much everyone knew I was in the five, and people have been saying shit since then. I voted with Sandy, Sam, Delaney, and Jester went home, so that's great. And Delaney and I don't even really talk, but it's just been a mess because I trusted Delaney during that time, and I told her that the vote was either going to be her or Jeff in an effort to get her to vote Jeff. But I also really did think that she was going to get a lot of votes, but she only got one. So of course she immediately thought that I was throwing her under the bus, not throwing her under the bus, that I was misleading her on purpose so that she would vote Jeff with me, which was totally not the case. I understand from her perspective how it can seem that way, but that wasn't the case. And yet she goes around to everybody and starts telling them the next day that I misled her and I was pushing the Jeff vote and I was doing this, this, this. So now people are talking about me and Sandy and Sam as some sort of like trio who pushed the Jeff vote. And it's just the biggest disaster I've ever seen. And my game went from, I think, in a pretty good position to just not after that one vote. And it's just such a disaster. And I can't believe it happened that way. Um, and I know damn well that Antoinette is going around saying it because she knows that I'm close with Sandy and Sam. We had our alliance of four. I mean, we still do have our alliance of four, but it's certainly not as active as it once was because Sandy, Sam, and I, we all know that we can't trust that bitch. Like, we know that she's just being the biggest snake I might have ever played with before. She's playing both sides. She's in alliances left and right. She's being horrible. She's really being awful. And I really thought she was someone I could trust. She was one of the people I probably knew the best coming into this game, if not the person I knew the best coming into this game. And while I knew that she was a cutthroat player and that I probably couldn't trust her, I really, really did not expect her to turn on us so quickly and leave us hanging. I mean, she totally left us hanging in that vote. She never once said she didn't want to do Jeff. She never said she wasn't doing Jeff. So then we end up in a minority because of her. And and then right after the vote, I asked her who she voted, and she said Jeff. She lied straight to my face. And I mean, that's it. I mean, I was already suspicious of her because she's been doing some shady shit for a bit. But after that, I was done. Like, I'm done with her. Like, I cannot trust a word that comes out of her mouth. Like, I have never seen so much garbage in my life. Like, never. Like, I could go to the local dump and there'd be more garbage coming from her than there. Like, it's insane. She just sits on call and she just spews lie after lie after lie and just absolute filth because she is trying to save her own ass. She knows she's been caught. She knows what's going on. She knows that people are saying her name, that people don't trust her, and she's freaking out as she should because she's just totally, totally ruining her own game. I think she had a pretty good position. I think she was fine, and she ruined her relationship with three people who really trusted her. And her time is coming, and if I leave this game before her, I'm going to be so upset. And I swear to God, I hope she goes home at her elimination in a couple days. And the only thing that would upset me about that is the fact that I'm not on that team to write down her name and send her out myself. It sucks. It really sucks. I want to write down her name so badly and send her home. But nevertheless, as long as she goes, that's all I care about at this point. Because she's got to get out of here. I can't do it anymore. I used to think Sam was like the devil here in this game. I really would come here in these confessionals and just shit talk her. And I mean, she's done some shady shit and she keeps a lot of information from me. Don't get me wrong, but Sam is nothing compared to Antoinette. I have never in my life seen someone play like she has. And I can't get over it. She doesn't realize that the shit that she's telling people is getting back to me, Sandy, and Sam, and she's going to realize it hopefully when she's walking out the door and sees what's going on, because she had the nerve to get on call with me yesterday after calling with Taisha and telling Taisha that me, Sandy, and Sam are a trio that she needs to look out for. And then she has the nerve to get on call with me and profess how loyal she is to me, and how she has never tried to screw me over, and she has never thrown me under the bus, and all this just pure lies that she's been, telling me and feeding to me, thinking that I'm going to eat it up like, like it's ice cream. It's crazy. Um, it's outstanding. It's really a great acting performance. I'm shocked she's on Broadway. And I mean, I know she can sing, so maybe she has a future there. I don't know. But I don't. I confronted her because I really had enough. So I called with her last night, and I straight up confronted her. I said I need, and she was all happy and cheery and like, "How are you? Like, I'm so glad we're calling. Like, this is so nice." And then I said I need to talk to you about something, and she got real serious. She was like, "Oh God." And I said, "How'd you vote the other night?" And she knew I had her. She knew that I had her beat, and she just told me straight up. She's like, I voted Delaney, and you're the only person I've told this, but I voted for Delaney. I probably told like 10 people today that she voted Delaney. Like, I'm telling everybody she voted Delaney. Like, I hope they all know it. That she's been just lying to everybody left and right, because she lied to the people who voted Jeff. She lied to the people who voted Jester. So you know what? They should all know that she's been lying to both of them. Duh. And you know, um, and then I called her out, and she's just like, in the rest of the call for the next 30 minutes, she just sat there like, I'm just stressed. Like, I don't want to ruin things. Like, I hope that our bond is still strong, because I trusted you more than Sandy and Sam, and we've always just connected better than them. And you know, I don't want to ruin that. It's like, you did ruin it. Like, you purposely ruined it. You have purposely been going around to people trashing my name when I was loyal to you. And then she goes and calls with Sandy today, and she's like, I'm so sorry, Sandy. Like, I was gonna tell you, I swear. And like, it sounds like something out of like a teen heartthrob movie. Like, I like the big dramatic reveal scene. Like, I was gonna tell you, I swear I was. Again, a great acting performance by her. And she tells Sandy that he is the one that she trusts the most, and that she has trusted Sandy way more than she ever trusts me and Sam. And it's like, didn't you just tell me last night you trusted me more than Sam and Sandy? Like, am I crazy? Am I hearing things? I don't think so. Um, so, and it's like, are you stupid? Like, are you brain dead? Are you just like a bad player? Like, are you just dumb? Like, I know you're not dumb, because like you're trying to be a vet. Like, you're a smart person. I've seen you play. Like, you know how to play Antoinette. So why would you think that people you know are working together, like me, Sam, and Sandy, are not going to compare notes? And when you tell me you trust me the most, and then you tell Sandy you trust him the most, why would we not compare notes on that? Like, have you even thought for 2 seconds? Clearly not, because if she even thought for 2 seconds about her gameplay and what she's been doing, she would realize that her gameplay is atrocious. I have never seen more horrid gameplay in my entire life. It is laughable. It is comical. That's why people don't play two sides as hard as she has so quickly, because you get caught so easily. And she's been caught. Like, everyone knows. Everyone from both sides. I'm aware of it. Delaney's aware of it. Sam's aware of it. Sandy, Seamus, Slade, Taisha, Dre, Jackson, everybody knows. Everybody knows. And nobody trusts her. And she's just going around getting freaked out. And Sandy called with her today, and he basically is like, I hear that you're telling people that me, Sandy, and Sam are all together. And she, of course, denies it. And then she calls me up real quick and is like, I just want you to know that, like, Sandy confronted me about this. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's like, I know it's true. Like, you told Taisha last night to look out for me, Sandy, and Sam. Like, again, are you dumb, or do you think I'm dumb? Because one of us isn't, and one of us is. And I can assure you, I'm not the dumb one here. Um, and it's unreal. It's really unreal the way she just calls me and has the nerve to lie straight to my face. And you can just hear the panic in her voice. Like, she doesn't even know what she's saying, and she contradicts herself every other word. She's standing there in Target calling me, telling me that I need to trust her, because she has not been going against me or throwing me under the bus or lying to me. But then one sentence, she told me that Jeff was the one throwing me under the bus and saying my name. But then the literal next second, I'm not even kidding, the next sentence she said, I don't know who's been saying your name. You just told me it was Jeff a second ago. Do you have short-term memory loss? Is there amnesia that is going on here that I'm unaware of? Because something's not right. If you're telling me 1 second it's Jeff and the next you don't know who it is, how do you even explain that? Because that's just impossible. Um, and she probably doesn't even realize she's saying it. She's just tripping over her words, just letting whatever she can, flow out of her mouth, throwing whatever she can at the wall, and hoping something sticks to salvage her crumbling game that I'm sure she sees breaking apart in front of her eyes. Because if she's not, then she's just even more blind than I thought she was. And I can't really believe the way she's been acting in this game, because this is just not like her. I mean, maybe it is, but I've seen her play so much better than this, and this is just another level for her, and it sucks that I'm on the receiving end of her nonsense and her horrible gameplay. Um, but I called with Jeff just before this. We called for over an hour, and that was our first call of the game because Jeff has been super inactive. And Jeff basically, I told him, I was like, yeah, I voted for you the other night. Like, I was close to Jester. I'm not going to hide it. That's that. Like, I'm a straight up player. And, Jeff basically told me, oh, it's fine. Like, there's no vengeance here. There's no vendetta here, blah, 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 blah. Like, he's had the same call with Sandy and Sam. He told me he has, and that he's just trying to, get on the same page because he really felt like we had a good relationship and a good connection, but like, and so he just never thought I would vote for him. It's like, we have never called before today. The game has been going on for over 2 weeks now, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's been over 2 weeks now, and we have yet to get on a call until tonight. You really think we had that great of a connection? You really think we connected that well? Like, I don't know what world you're living in. Like, and you know what? If he watches this back and I'm being a total douchebag right now and I'm being total ass because he really felt that we had a connection, then I am so sorry. But we exchanged maybe like one sentence a day, and there were days that went by that we didn't talk at all. And again, we didn't call until tonight. It was a great call. Love talking to you. But that's why I've seen you as a threat since the start, because I know you can talk to people. I know you can win comps. I know that you're a good player. That is why I've wanted you gone. And that is why I voted you to go home the other night. And it sucks that it was a one vote difference. And if Taisha had known it was going to be a one vote difference, she would have voted you out so quickly. Meanwhile, you have the nerve to go and call with Taisha and tell her that, when people vote for you and you don't go home, you come back with a vengeance and they have no idea what's coming. And then you sit on call with me and you're like, there's no vengeance here, there's no vendetta. Like, we're good, like, trust me, we're good. You're just saying that because you're on my team and you don't want to go home. Like, please. um it's just insane. So I know that you're angry. I know that you want vengeance. You told Taisha as much. You spoke, down to her like she was some sort of like useless player who has no clue what's going on. And little do you know, she knows exactly what's going on. She knows a lot more than you give her credit for. And so I don't trust. I can't trust Jeff's word. I would love to. He seems like a great guy, great person. Just can talk your ear off and can talk about any subject under the sun. But I know you're coming for me. You told Taisha you are, and that's all that I need to know. And I know that you're in an alliance. I know about the Renegades. Dre told Sam told Sandy, Sandy told me, and Sandy also told Taisha. So people know about this alliance as if it wasn't obvious already, but people know about it. And the plan this round is to get out Antoinette, even though she's in that alliance, because Dre says that he wants to turn on Antoinette and shake up the game and get her out. So hopefully the two boots this round will be Jeff and Antoinette, and everything will be back to normal, and I won't have people dragging my name anymore who I thought were my allies. Um, but Jeff also lied right to my face on that hour-long call when he told me he didn't know where the votes were and he didn't know how Antoinette voted and blah blah blah. Blah. Like, I know he knows. He spoke to Sandy today, and Sandy told him exactly where the votes were and everything like that. And I'm sure Jeff already knew before then. But Jeff threw Seamus under the bus to me, which was great. And I will be going to Seamus and I will be telling Seamus exactly what Jeff said, because I need to build some trust with Seamus, because Seamus has been kind of shaky the past 24 hours ever since that god awful team picking ceremony last night where Sandy just nearly lost his mind. Um, and I need to make sure that Seamus does not trust Jeff whatsoever. So I gotta build on that relationship there. But there's just a lot going on. I could go on and on and on. There's just so much to talk about. But at this point, I've ranted more than enough. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, and I'm ready for questions if there are any.
Perfect. Zach, you covered a lot. I think you covered, the post live night happenings, like what you've been doing post live night. I have a quick question for you about the live night vote. Um, you mentioned, well, I want to ask you basically the plan to vote out Jeff.
Mhm.
At what point was that presented to you? Is that something that you started, or did somebody come to you with that, basically?
So I started it, and I'll gladly say I started it. Um, I was sitting there in the last room in the food chain room with Sandy and Taisha. It was just us, and I was trying to get a conversation going with like the last minute that we had until the round was over. And I was like, who do we want to vote? Who do we want to vote? Because the people I would want to vote would be Dre, Jackson, or Jeff, or Marcella. Those are the four people I wanted, but Dre and Jackson were gonna win. So I'm like, what do we do? So I look at Sandy and Taisha, and I'm like, what about Jeff? And Sandy's like, I'll do it. And Taisha sits there with like a blank stare on her face, like the fucking the Mona Lisa, just sitting there not saying anything. And I'm just like, okay. And then the next thing I know, the round ends and we get pulled into the main room again. And as soon as the voting period starts, Jester's name is out there from the second the voting period starts, because shocker, the same people who have been targeting him have been targeting him this whole time, and they've got a group formed and they have a plan, because my idiotic allies and I were not smart enough to go into live night with a plan of who we wanted to vote out. Like, who goes into live night without a plan? Apparently my alliance. So we're all scrambling, trying to figure out a vote. And Jester's like, what about Marcella? What about this? What about this? And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And my alliance is like, I don't know, I don't know. And Slade's like, maybe we should just do Jester to be safe. And um, and I'm like, that's dumb. Jester's been voting with us the past number of rounds. So I messaged Slade privately and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, what are we doing? Like, this, we need our alliance to get together on some sort of vote. And Slade says, you need to push a name in the chat because I had immunity. Like, okay, sure, whatever. I don't care at this point. So I go to the chat and I say, what about Jeff? And Sandy's like, I'll do Jeff. Taisha's like, I'll do Jeff. Jester said he'll do Jeff. And Sam, I get on call with Sam and Antoinette during the voting period. And I'm like, Jeff's name is out there. Jeff's name's out there. And there, Sandy and not Sandy, Sam and Antoinette are very confused as to where Jeff's name is coming from. Of course, because they're not in my alliance chat, they don't understand that's where the name is coming from. So they're like, what? And I'm like, if that's the vote, I'm gonna do it because I'm not voting for Jester. And Sam's like, yeah, same here. I'm not voting for Jester. And Antoinette just sits there silently, just not saying anything, like just playing coy, just keeping her cards like right close to her chest, like not want to say anything as always. Um, and um, so we get off the call, the voting period ends, and right as the voting period ends, Seamus and Slade come back in the chat and they're like, this isn't good. Like, we're not, like, let's not do it. Like, this is going to expose our alliance. And Sandy's like, Sam is voting for Jeff. Like, Sam is voting with us. She's voting for Jeff. Like, we have the numbers. Let's do it. But then Seamus asked Sam, and Sam's like, no, I'm doing Jester. So Seamus thinks Sandy's lying, but he's not. I don't know why Sam told Seamus that, but she did. Um, so Taisha looks at the chat. She sees that they're like abort mission, abort mission. So she locks in Jester, which was the big mistake of the night. And me, Sandy, Sam, Jester, and Delaney vote for Jeff in a minority, and we should have had three more votes. We should have had Slade, Seamus, and Taisha, and really four. We should have had Antoinette, but none of them did it with us, and it was a disaster. And Taisha claims to regret it a lot, and we just have to move forward. But I started the vote. I pushed the vote. So when people are going around saying that I pushed the vote, they're not wrong.
Perfect. So you mentioned during the team picking phase that Sandy almost lost his mind, basically.
Yeah.
So talk about. I wasn't there, I didn't see it, but was there like a breakdown at some point during the team picking phase or the aftermath? Were people not happy with the selections?
So this was, there's so much to get into. There's just so much going on. So basically, right before team selections and the results, Dre, Dre and Sandy did their competition. And after they did their competition together, Dre told Sandy that, quote, the house has been saying that me, Sam, and Sandy are a close alliance working together, and that we pushed the Jeff vote. And this made Sandy freak out, and he ran and told Sam and me, and it was just a big mess. And right before the vote, as well, in between that and the vote, not the vote, the team selection, Dre called Sam because they have a connection, and Dre basically told Sam, I'm in an alliance called the Renegades. It's me, Jackson, Jeff, Marcelo, and Antoinette. I don't want to stick with it. I don't want it. I want to shake up the game. So, um, so Sandy hears about this from Sam. Sam doesn't tell me because Sam doesn't tell me a lot of stuff, but I get it all from Sandy. And Sandy, um, basically goes into that team picking and he's enraged. He is furious with Antoinette because Antoinette is in an alliance without us. And Dre is saying that basically the whole house is talking badly about us. And um, uh, who else could be saying these things if not for Antoinette? I mean, nobody knows that me, Sandy, and Sam are in alliance together except for Antoinette. So Sandy naturally assumes it's Antoinette. The team selection time comes, and Sandy gives this big monologue, basically calling out Antoinette without saying her name and saying, if you're all going to talk about me, that's fine, but I'm the captain and I'm going to pick people from my team that are going to do what I want. So he picks Taisha, me, and Sam in order to get out Jeff. So it's a big thing. It's a big mess. And he leaves Seamus and Slade hanging dry on the other team because he doesn't pick them. He picks Sam over them as well as Delaney and Jeff. So um, afterwards, we all get on an alliance call because Slade and Seamus are pissed. And what followed was about 15 minutes of screaming at the top of their lungs between Seamus, Slade, and Sandy. And Seamus calling Sandy a snake, saying that he doesn't trust him at all. He's been playing all sides. He's horrible. Slade is pissed because he's like, I'm going home on my team. Like, this is absolutely terrible. Like, what are you doing? What the hell is going on? Like, you're just atrocious. And Sandy tries to explain, this is what Dre told me. I assumed that you guys were in on it and that you guys were talking badly about us. Slade and Seamus swear on their lives they've never been a part of any conversation against us in that way. And Sandy kind of looks like an idiot because Sandy believed Dre. Dre manipulated Sandy 100%. He got into Sandy's head and he kind of ruined Sandy's game. I mean, Sandy's relationship with Seamus is all but done. They're connected by an alliance now, but they don't trust each other whatsoever. And I think that as soon as Sandy is vulnerable and it makes sense for him to go, Seamus and Slade are going to vote him out really fast. They're going to turn on him so quickly. Um, and I think that in that one moment, in that one team selection ceremony, Sandy's game was ruined. I think I'd be shocked if Sandy made it to like anywhere near the end at this point. It's his game is so open and out in the open, and it's just not good. So yeah, they kind of all lost their minds last night.
So, you find yourself, on Sandy's team.
Mhm.
Sandy mentions, like you said, that he's picking people that will do what he
Mhm.
wants. You figured the vote here, barring a Jeff immunity win, would be Jeff. Um, say Jeff wins immunity, is it all set in stone that you guys would vote out Delaney at that point, or is there anything else that you have in mind?
No, if Jeff wins immunity, we're gonna vote Delaney. Delaney has been dragging my name since live night when I have been nothing but loyal to her. So I want her gone. I've had enough of her. She's basically useless as far as an ally is concerned. So she can go. And honestly, like we're kind of scared of an idol play or something from Jeff. So we might even vote Delaney anyway, because Delaney's just not loyal to us. It sounds stupid because Jeff is in an alliance with the other side and Delaney's not, but Delaney's not. I mean, she's not going to help us. She's not working with us at all. Um, but I'm honestly considering doing something kind of funny because I just called with Jeff for an hour. And if I didn't know any better, I would say, yeah, let's work with Jeff. He seems alone. He seems very understanding. He doesn't seem upset about the vote at all. Let's work with him. But I know better, and I know that he's in an alliance and that he does not have me as any sort of priority. But what I'm thinking of doing is getting on a call with Sam or Sam and Sandy and basically playing dumb and basically being like, I just called with Jeff. It was such a good call. Like, I really don't want to vote him out. Like, I think we should work with him. I don't think he has any allies. And I'm hoping maybe that'll get Sam to, like, it'll pretty much force her to tell me, actually, Jeff's in an alliance and we need him gone. I'm hoping I might do that, just because I am so sick of Sam not telling me anything but telling Sandy everything. And I need to change that. I need to get to a point with Sam where she tells me what the hell is actually going on when she knows these things, because I am not trying to be the clueless ally who just gets everything second and third hand from somebody else. So I might do that actually. But Jeff, I would love for Jeff to go here. Yeah.
So say everything works out in your favor and you get, the 2-for-1 here, the perfect bargain with Jeff and Antoinette going
Mm-hmm.
out in this double elimination. And you see yourself at final 10 here. What's the plan moving forward, I guess? Who do you want to go far in the game with? You mentioned, Sandy putting a sizable target on his back
Mm-hmm.
with his selection here and
Yeah.
the outburst, but what's the long game look like for you?
Well, the only person that I have a final two with is Sandy. And I love to stick to my final twos. I love to go to the end with the people I have a final two with. But if I go to the end with Sandy, I know I'm going to lose. That's guaranteed. And the thing is, Sam and Sandy are both bigger targets than me. They're shields for me. The longer they stay, honestly, the better. But I am more loyal to my alliance of me, Slade, Seamus, Taisha, and Sandy. Especially Taisha. I trust Taisha a lot, and I know Sandy trusts Taisha a lot. Honestly, I worry about how close they are, and I think that if Sandy goes, Taisha is 100% final two with me, and I would love to go to final two with Taisha. Honestly, I think that would be really good. Um, but if we get to final 10 and my alliance stays here, we have half the votes. It's an alliance of five, and if it's final 10, we have half the numbers. We should be able to get out the people we want to get out, and we should not be really worrying or fucking that up. And if we do, we're idiots. But I worry because I do feel like Slade and Seamus will flip on Sandy when they can, and it could ruin our whole games, really. And I know they don't trust Sam either. So like I could see Sandy and Sam leaving just back to back, and then I'm forced to cling to Seamus and Slade for dear life at that point. Um, but that's a problem for them. But really, endgame, I want to get as far with my alliance as I can. They're the people I like. They're the people I trust. In an ideal world, I'd love to sit in final two with Sandy, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't see him making it there, and I don't think that I can even have that. I'm sure I'd lose to him. It's a typical, we're a duo. He's the bigger personality, the one that people see more. He wins more comms. He's louder. He makes speeches. He does these things, and I'm sitting there doing just as much, if not more than him, because I'm the one who he calls freaking out to, and I'm calming him down, basically being like, here's what we need to do. We need to do this, 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 and this. But people don't see that. They don't see it. They don't understand it. And I get it. It's hard, but that's the game I always play, and that's what helps me get to the end. And if I'm sitting next to him, there's no way that people are going to give me the credit that I deserve, and I understand that. So I just got to get through this round and take it from there. But my alliance is my priority.
Perfect. Zach, those are all the questions that I have for you at the moment. If there's anything else that we haven't talked about that you want to talk about, we can do it now, or I can stop this recording for you.
That's everything. I think I've said way more than enough, and it hasn't even covered everything. So
Perfect. I will stop